Thank you for that very fine introduction. And I'm greatly honored to be here in Madrid and to be presented with this prize from the Sociedad Geográfica Española. I would like to speak to you in Spanish. Many years ago, I actually lived in Puerto Rico, y I spoke Spanish perfectamente. Pero se hace muchos años, y es mejor que yo hablo en inglés. I am here, as you heard, because I have spent 50 years of my life, actually now 51, searching for signs of intelligent life in the universe. And what is happening there is that this isn't just a simple scientific project. It is a much grander project because it is dealing with some of the most profound philosophical and personal questions we all have. Why are we here? What does it mean to be a human being in this universe? What is our future? What might we become? And once we learn that, in fact, our sun is not the oldest of stars, and that, as was just mentioned, there are hundreds of millions of stars in our own galaxy, are there other creatures in space? And if so, what could we learn from them? Or at least be entertained by them by finding out how they have fun. So the question of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligent life is a very profound and widespread one. It has to do with what we are and what we may become. But it also has to do with the possibility that we can learn facts of other technologies. We could learn of dangers to our existence, which we have not recognized. We might learn how other creatures such as ourselves get along with each other better, something we have still not mastered on this planet. And so this search is, to me, not just a challenge, an attempt to solve some simple scientific problem. It is rather, it is those things, but it is also aimed at answering some of our most profound and oldest philosophical questions. Now, it's nice to say all that, but we live in a very special time. Until a few years ago, we could make comments, as I just made, but we could do nothing about them. We had no practical means, no powerful means to detect other creatures in space, other worlds. We live, though, in a special time because we have crossed a threshold where, for the first time, we have technologies which can detect signs of intelligent life across the great distances which separate the stars. We do not need a super civilization out there. We do not need to have them having some exotic technology that we have not invented. If they are only like us in what they do, we can find them. And that has been true for 50 years now. For 50 years, humanity has had the capability to be exploited to find other worlds in space, to find creatures, to find out some of the grand answers. What do more advanced civilizations do? Almost any civilization we find will actually be older than us. The ones that are younger than us have not yet developed technologies we can detect. But the others, and some of them must be very much older, have developed technologies which can be very useful to us. They have probably also learned what the dangers are. They will have learned whether it is folly, for instance, to colonize space. You should stay on your own home planet and make the best of it. They will know, for instance, how to produce clean energy through nuclear fusion, as occurs in the sun, something we are spending great amounts of money on, and yet have a long way to go before we have a practical, productive, cost-effective source of such energy. And so it is a great opportunity that has been presented to us, and we are slowly carrying out the searches that will at some point bring us in contact with other creatures in space. It's been going on for 50 years. We don't have to climb big mountains. We don't have to be cold, as some of the other people here had to be, or be extremely rigorous in our health and all of that. We have to exploit our minds and the benefits, the technological benefits of our civilization, particularly with regard to the construction of telescopes of both optical and radio types. Here in Spain, there's been a great development of very large optical telescopes, not yet applied to the search for extraterrestrial life, although they could be. In the rest of the world, there has been the development of powerful radio telescopes, the most powerful of which is a Spanish-speaking telescope. Actually, it speaks Castellano. I should be a little more careful about that. And it is in Puerto Rico, where it is now 35 years old, actually 45 years old, and yet from the first day it was built until today, it has been the largest telescope in the world and will be so for many years. This telescope, just to give you a feel for it, can detect a duplicate of itself, not from just the distance to the nearest stars, but from any star in the Milky Way galaxy. That telescope has a radio transmitter on it that transmits over 1 million watts. When concentrated into a narrow beam of energy, which is what the big dishes can do, it creates a power so intense that to duplicate it without the big dish would require you to transmit 1 million watts. That's more than the electrical power production of all the electrical plants on Earth. That signal would be detectable by a similar telescope anywhere in our galaxy. And that is just a demonstration of the fact that we are able to cross this threshold and detect civilizations like ourselves from anywhere in our galaxy. Well, what are we doing about this? For 60 years, we have searched. We started out 60 years ago with a radio receiver that could receive one channel at a time using a 25-meter telescope. Today, we have the 300-meter Arecibo telescope. We are building a similar-sized telescope to be dedicated to this search in California. Our radio receivers today, instead of monitoring one channel at a time, monitor hundreds of millions of channels at a time. And when you do the calculation, and in science calculations matter, it turns out that our search capability today is 100 trillion times greater than I had back in the year 1960 when I did the first search. And there's a long way we can go by exploiting our computer technology. And as powerful as our systems are, the challenge is extremely great, and we're not yet really able to deal with it. With our best knowledge of factors in the equation that you saw up on the screen, perhaps 1 in 10 million stars has a detectable signal. This means we must be able to search 10 million stars before we have a chance of success. That's why when I'm asked all the time, well, why you haven't found anything yet, why don't you give up? Well, we just haven't looked far enough. And I am just as enthusiastic today as I was 50 years ago. In any case, when we are realistic, we realize that our present power is going to cause our search to take a very, very long time. And the only way to speed this up is to build more of the technology, which we know how to do. We just don't have the money to do it. And for that to happen, the people of the world have to encourage this project. And so societies like this can play a role in that, as you are doing by giving me this nice prize. I will show that to the world to say that, look, people, not just that belong to our project or support it, believe that what we are doing is important. In the long run, we will succeed. We can't tell you how long it will take. That's one of our problems. That's why we can never get government money. Government bureaucrats always want you to tell them how much money it will take to achieve something. Well, we cannot predict how long we will have to search to succeed. We just don't know enough. And as a result, money from governments is very scarce. We depend on gifts from private people. But in the long run, we will succeed. And I hope it's not too long. I hope it's perhaps in the lifetime of most of us here tonight, in which case we will get the answer to what does it mean to be a human being. Are we alone? That would be an extremely important answer. It would say that our planet is very precious and we must protect it. More likely, we will find out that we are just one in many, many civilizations. And from those, we will learn wonderful things about what our future can be, what technologies are available to us, what dangers there are, which now we will know to avoid, and we will know how far we may evolve into the future. Do we connect computers to our brains? Is that what happens in the long run? We will, as has been said by others, be conducting an archaeological research, but not archaeology of the past, but the archaeology of the future. We'll be discovering what our future is, and we will be able to achieve that future and all its benefits very much faster as a result of what I and my colleagues are doing. And so I thank you very much for this prize and tell you you're not just giving a prize, you're giving an endorsement which will have some effect in speeding up the search and in the long run enriching our Earth in all the benefits of detecting another civilization much faster than it would happen otherwise. So thank you very much.